My friend asked me if he should came out to his family and I warned him about what could happen. Now I was blamed for everything. I know the title sounds bad, but hear me out. Also, I apologize for any incorrect terminology related to the topic. Okay, so I, 23F, have a friend, Sam, same age, who is a female to male transgender individual. However, I am one of the very few people who know this, and he generally still presents as female. This is because his family, mom, dad, grandfather, are all, quite frankly, horrible homophobes. Seriously, I've been to their house 3 times since Sam and I met in middle school, and each time, one of them has launched into some sort of hateful rant completely unprompted. Now here's where it gets complicated. Horrible as they might be, Sam's grandfather is very wealthy and Sam is set to inherit $2.5 million when he dies, which will probably be soon due to the man's rather serious health conditions. Sam has seen the will and knows this for a fact, but he also knows he'll be disowned if he comes out as transgender to his family. Because of this, Sam has stayed in the closet and continues to present as female, though he did start cutting his hair shorter and dressing more androgynously in college, just to stay in good standing with his grandfather. Sam has always been very open about his plan to fully come out and deal with the consequences after he gets the money. But today, at 5:30 in the morning, Sam called and woke me up to tell me that he was considering coming out to his family soon and that he thought it was dishonest to continue with the lie for the sake of money but asked for my advice. I was shocked but honestly told him I thought it was a bad idea. I explained that the $2.5 million would allow Sam to finally live his dream life, pay off student debts, get sex change surgery, maybe get a house, etc. Then I pointed out that Sam would almost certainly be thrown out of the house for doing so. He still lives with his parents for some complicated reasons, and he wouldn't be able to stay with me if that happened because, on top of living in a 1-bedroom apartment, I babysit my 6-year-old immunocompromised younger brother twice a week and cannot risk cross-contamination from Sam, who's an essential worker. I also wasn't shy about making my opinion that his family wasn't worthy of honesty extremely clear. Anyway, after I was done explaining all of this, Sam just burst into tears and hung up. I was confused, but it was also only 5:45, so I just rolled over and went back to bed. Later in the morning, I woke up to a bunch of text messages from Sam saying that I was a bad friend, a horrible person, and accusing me of being homophobic, transphobic. Now I could not give a damn about a person's sexual orientation or gender identity if you paid me. I am simply a deeply pragmatic person, and Sam knows this, so it really hurt to read these text messages. I didn't respond at first and decided to talk this over with my mother, who is aware of Sam's situation. Anyway, am I the A? Update 1. Okay, so I want to thank everyone on my original post for their different perspectives and that everyone was able to remain calm and respectful. I'll be the first to admit that, while I have my own issues, I obviously cannot fully relate to Sam's struggles and I probably could have been nicer about my concerns. In my own defense, he did wake me up at 5:30, so I was pretty dazed and grouchy. I also wanted to elaborate on the money situation and why Sam and I probably view that $2.5 million very differently. Sam and I come from very different financial backgrounds. I came from a poor, blended household of 6 children and was the second eldest. We never starved, and my extended family, we are all very close, but luxuries were hard to come by. There were times my twin brother and I were both working multiple part-time jobs to keep the lights on or to replace the water heater when it broke for the second time. I was only able to attend the same private schools as Sam did because of merit-based scholarships. I, and my family as a whole, are in a much better position now money-wise as I work 2 well-paying jobs, one of which is footing the bill for me to get my doctorate degree, but I still have a lot of money-related anxiety. Sam, however, has always been rich, and while his family are all jerks, they never hesitated to spoil him financially. I used to call him a Visa kid, which is like a latchkey kid but with his father's Visa card that he was free to use on whatever he wanted. Sam never bragged about having vastly more money than I did, but there were definitely times when he was accidentally insensitive about it. He once commented about how run down my house was after seeing where my stepdad had patched up some leaky pipes with neon orange duct tape, for example. Despite this, Sam usually had dinner at my house. My mom is a great cook, about twice a week, oblivious that my parents budgeted for each meal very carefully, and him being there was honestly an inconvenience. They both felt bad for him though and never said anything. Currently, Sam has a well-paying job as a hospital lab tech but has no real savings and is, in general, terrible with money. He has no idea how to budget because his family has always paid for everything, and the only reason he has student loans is because they refused to pay for some study abroad Sam wanted to do. When I said he still lives at home, what I actually meant is that he lives in his parents' guest house completely rent-free. They even buy his groceries for him, so the money he makes from his job is basically spent on video games, clothes, collectibles, etc. My point is that Sam could definitely afford to live on his own, be financially independent if he wanted to, but I'm genuinely concerned how he'd take the downgrading it would require. Anyway, on to the update. I went home today for our standard Sunday meal and talked things over with my mom. She says that it sounds like Sam had already decided to come out and was looking for support validation instead of advice, but didn't want to outright ask for it. Mom also says that while she agrees with me, she thinks I could have been gentler and that I should apologize for the sake of the friendship. I, however, was conflicted. I don't believe in false apologies because they are demeaning to everyone involved. I also don't like that Sam was fishing for validation and support instead of just asking for it, because I think that is manipulative. As I've said before, I am a very pragmatic individual and think it would be foolish to give up so much money when you were so close to getting it. Still, I also know how hard it has been for Sam to keep such a big part of himself a secret for so long. So I thought about all the comments left on my original post and what Mom said, and eventually decided to send Sam an email saying, I stand by what I said earlier and think the advice I gave was solid even if it wasn't what he wanted to hear. But I was sorry if what I said hurt him, and that hadn't been my intention at all. That I would of course stand by and support Sam if he made the choice to come out, as it was his choice. But I also thought he should make sure he was both physically, emotionally, and financially stable before doing so. I sent him the information for the mental health clinic I go to, which is offering 3 free Skype sessions with a counselor to help people cope with quarantine, and suggested Sam talk things over with one. I also suggested he get his important personal documents together, SSC, birth certificate, passport, etc., and put them in a secret safe place. I even offered to hold on to them. Finally, I said he should make sure he has somewhere to live before coming out. I found a couple of cheap, like $500/month places on Craigslist for rent and put the links in. I even promised to pay for the first month's rent if necessary. Then I sent the email out and went to help cook dinner. About an hour later, Sam called, but my hands were covered in flour and eggs, so I asked Sis, 16F, to answer my phone and put it on speaker, believing, falsely, we were about to have a calm adult situation. Sam blew up. For about 30 minutes, Sam just yelled about how there were more accusations of being homophobic, transphobic. He accused me of calling him crazy. Called me a robot. This one hurt the most, silly as it sounds, because I am on the autism spectrum and have a hard time understanding expressing emotions in general, which I'm very sensitive about. Said he'd never move into any of the apartments I suggested because they were trashy, and wondered why he couldn't just stay with me. I tried to explain about my little brother again, only to be told, and I quote, "Why are you so worried about that brat? He isn't your kid, just forget about him right now." Then Sam hung up again, and it was Sis' turn to blow. Sis is bisexual and has never really liked Sam, though I never knew why until now. Sis was angry that Sam would say those things when I and our family have done nothing but support him. She said that throughout our years of friendship, it has always been me supporting Sam and never the other way around, despite having my own issues. I tried to argue, but Sis reminded me that after I had extensive eye surgery in high school to hopefully prevent me from going blind before 30, Sam couldn't be bothered to drop off my schoolwork or drive me to a checkup when no one else was available. She compared that to when I had to leave an important work dinner to pick up a drunk Sam from a gay bar, or when Sam got angry when I decided my old brother's wedding was more important than going to an LGBT+ event on our college campus with him. Honestly, Sis has given me a lot to think about. Sam is an important friend to me. I obviously want the best for him, and I'm hoping this is all just stress from the current global situation boiling over or something. But Sis is right in that Sam has spent years expecting to be my #1 priority and using me as an emotional crutch. I'm going to give things a few days and see how they turn out. Any thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Update 2 years later. Yesterday, I was running errands when I stopped for coffee. While waiting for my drink, I heard someone call my name. It was Sam, and he looked rough. To the point I didn't even recognize him at first. Anyway, Sam decided to join me. I awkwardly asked him how he'd been, and Sam launched into this long rant about how hard his life became after he came out to his parents. He got kicked out and cut off by his family. Since he didn't have enough savings to rent anywhere, Sam ended up having to couch surf for the past 2 years, losing a lot of friends when they got tired of him. Sam apparently got so depressed about everything that he stopped going to work and was finally fired about 6 months ago. When he was finally done, I honestly told Sam that I was sorry for everything he went through. He asked me if that was it, and another blow-up happened. Sam accused me of abandoning him when he needed my help. I said I did offer him help back then, but it just wasn't the help that Sam liked. Then I told Sam that everything that happened to him was something I warned about and that I didn't feel much sympathy for him because of that. He knew the risks, still came out, so he couldn't gripe about the consequences. I left after that, and everyone who knows what happened is split on my response. So aita? Comments and OP's reply. Jen P said, "You have every right to cut ties with somebody who is impeding your happiness, but I also don't think you were the good friend to him you think you were. He came to you looking for support before coming out to his parents and you casually told him to live a lie forever for financial gain. Whether or not you were right about the repercussions, it's pretty cruel not to consider what that meant for him or to feel no sympathy for him being abandoned for simply living his life. A lot of the things that are going well for you in life, a loving supportive family, a happy romantic relationship, quickly climbing the ladder at work, are not nearly as possible for him simply because of how he was born. Is that your fault? No. But it's a good time to recognize your privilege." OP's reply. "I would have given Sam support had he asked for it. I would have thought he was an idiot considering it was, at the time, peak pandemic in our area and he had no more place to live, but I would have bit my tongue and supported him. But Sam didn't ask for support, he asked for advice. Which I gave and still, even after all this time, stand by, especially since I was right. Now I'm not cold enough to say I told you so. But I'm also not going to pretend that I didn't warn Sam of the possible consequences of his actions." Jen P said, "This is not an advice thread. You didn't ask how you should have handled it. You asked if you were TA for blaming him for his misfortune and having no sympathy for him. Now you're saying you do have sympathy for his circumstances. So which is it?" OP's reply. "I did not ask advice, I asked a question. Asking for advice would imply that I doubted that my actions were the right ones, which I do not. Oh, I have sympathy for Sam's situation. His parents are awful, no doubt about that. But I have no sympathy for the series of decisions that led him to be there. I was raised that you accept and deal with the consequences of your actions, including the bad ones. If I warn someone that the stove is hot and they pick it up anyway, I have no sympathy for their pain despite knowing how much burns hurt." Glad to be alive 2020 said, "NTA. But saying it to him when he obviously is going through an extremely difficult time is kind of like pouring salt in a wound, kicking someone when they are down, etc. Going from leading a wealthy lifestyle, having a family to couch surfing is undoubtedly very difficult. While what you said was true, because you did caution him about the consequences beforehand, he may have felt his mental health wouldn't allow him to continue living a lie, his life, his timing, his consequences. There was no need to remind him that you were right, he already knows that. You definitely could have shown him much more empathy and compassion. It's free and doesn't hurt you in any way, so can't say YTA, you could have been more caring." OP's reply. "In all seriousness, how should I have been caring to someone who was verbally attacking me in public? I had already expressed sympathy for what he's gone through, but it seems Sam wanted more out of the encounter." Glad to be alive 2020 said, "I wasn't clear he was verbally attacking you. You said Sam launched into this long rant, which to me meant he was venting to you about what he went through, not that he was verbally attacking you, which to me sounds way more aggressive than saying someone went on a long rant." OP's reply. "Ah, I see. Sam's initial rant was certainly angry, but it wasn't so much directed at me. It was afterward, when Sam started accusing me of abandoning him, that it turned into more of a personal attack. Character limits are a bitch." Nemo Noan said, "You are NTA, neither for saying that you warned him of what was going to happen, nor for distancing from him after his temper tantrum opened your eyes to the kind of friend he was." In a nutshell, Sam had always used OP and her family as an emotional support crutch, never offering any kind of support back. He did have a job, as a hospital lab tech, but lived with his parents rent-free and had no savings because he never learned how to budget his own money. He was aware that he would likely be disowned and be made homeless, but his plan was to come out during the height of the COVID pandemic, keep his job as an essential medical worker and move into OP's one-bedroom flat. Also knowing all along that OP had to babysit her immunocompromised little brother. OP obviously objected and Sam answered, "Why are you so worried about that brat? He isn't your kid, just forget about him right now. Being trans and anguished about coming out doesn't give you a pass for being such an entitled asshole." OP was completely right about cutting him off and not giving him any sympathy.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.